Welcome to Vita-Girl. Today we're going to discuss the van, and I thought it would be kind of fun to discuss what I'm doing to move the whole project forward even though I don't own the van yet. I kind of do this with a lot of the projects that I work on, and so what I like to do, at least in the beginning of the project, is say, okay, this is the flavor or the idea of what I'm doing. And so I'm kind of doing the same thing with the van. You know, it's like, what is important to me? And so I've designed like a little presentation here that kind of gets you into my brain and my design process. I'm going to go after 1950s modern. The reason that I like 1950s modern, I think it's because of the movies I was raised on. Yes, I'm not that old, but for some reason those old sci-fi films still to this day make an impression on me. And I'm talking about Forbidden Planet, or the old TV show Lost in Space. That whole style is fantastical. Here's the first page. This is the flavor sheet showing 3 different pictures from 1950s modern. What I really like about this is kind of like a background that you can tell has texture to it, and it has some whimsy to it. The colors themselves are very warm in nature, but they're also very contrasty. Anyway, you see the first picture, you've got this wallpaper, and the wallpaper is kind of yellow and taupe and red in there. Very high contrasty colors, clean wood floor. It's just beautiful. The next one, you see kind of hidden cabinetry, so everything is clean. And then you see some furniture there. The furniture is very clean lines, and you can tell that it would be comfortable, but it's not designed to just, fluff around you like a lazy boy. It's more like it's got purpose, and the design is in that purpose. And then the third one here is kind of a mixture of the two, but you can see that it's got cabinetry in the back. It's got that same color patterns to it. It's got, the yellows and the oranges and the very design-oriented furniture that's in there too. So this one is of a 50s modern kitchen. What I really like about this is that, all of the cabinetry, it's all hidden away. And then you've got the appliances are flush with the cabinetry. And I really like that style. So I might get a van that is off-white, and then have my company's logo in this orange color. But we'll see. And then the next picture shows it's still 50s modern, but it's a different color palette. Now this is very much some taupes and some oranges, but look at that furniture. I just love it. All right, so once you get into the style, you can start expanding beyond that. And I started looking at light switches, or any switches for that matter. Here's some examples. These are switches that have a brass knob to them, stainless steel background, or a black background to them. This kind of differing material and background to it, it really reminds me of those old 1950s movies. And I would like to add that sort of mystique to the van itself. You probably wouldn't see that on the outside, but on the inside, I kind of want to feel like you're in that world. It's kind of like your time machine. The next, I started looking at different couches. I know that I want to be able to work from a couch and also lounge on a couch. And then also have a standing desk, with a little bit of that later. But these couches here are all designed to fold down and then be a full-size bed. The one that I'm leaning toward here is this gray that's up here in the top left. And I would get something that is more in the 50s color scheme, so probably a yellow or an orange. What I really would like to do in this van is not only to live, but to work. Most people don't consider working in their van, but that's a big thing for me. And so I have to find spaces for all of these things here. One is a programming station that's in the top right. Yes, I've got something similar. I have made it out of wood, and it's got everything needed for a pinball machine. And speaking of which, in the top left is a pinball playfield rotisserie. I will need space that's that large to hold a playfield, and I can turn it upside down, and I can work on the playfield on either side. And I plan on having that rotisserie be lifted up and hidden if I'm not using it. On the lower left is a soldering station, and of course, you know, when you work with electronics, you'll need that. In the lower right is a 3D printer, and also an etcher and a CNC machine all in one. At my home studio, I have all of these as separate devices, and having a smaller version, you know, that can't do full-size parts, but allows you to mock up and to prototype is something that I do not want to give up. And I want to keep that in the van. You know that the van has a lot of different parts to it, and it would be electric versus water, fresh and gray versus solar versus thermostat, all these different control systems. And what I'd like to do is integrate it all into one. And this is kind of ideas on what that might look like. I know for one that I would probably make my own frame, and the frame would be made out of brass, and it would be on the wall. And I really like this this wall scheme here. It makes it look like it's got the 50s color motifs already. Anyway, so that would be a control system. I plan on programming that and designing that myself, doing it in pieces. I'll do a separate video on how I'm building the control system later. Probably with each success, I'll show a different part. Now for entertainment, of course you need entertainment if you're living in your van too. And so I plan on having a lot of streaming services as well as gaming. I do like to game. I like PS4 and the Vita. And of course for streaming, Netflix and Amazon Prime. And so I've got to figure out how to put that in as well. Exercising, people think like Planet Fitness. Of course that would be one thing. And then if you have a dog walks. I know that that would be probably 3 times a day for me. But something I really do enjoy is Dance Dance Revolution. So that's what 9 panel thing is over here. This is coincidentally, you know, a big square. And I kept thinking, I was like, if I'm going to put this in the van, I have to use that space for something else. And so I thought about, you know, if I'm putting it in the floor, it's got to be also used for something else, and that something else can be a shower pan. And so if I make my shower pan the same size and then have it the same depth as that piece, which is about 2 inches, that means that I can take out the DDR pan. You could take your shower, and when you're finished, you dry it all off, and you can put back in the DDR pad or put back in these wood blocks. And it would look like it was meant to be that way. All right, lastly, I'm thinking about food. And so for food, of course I want a refrigerator and a freezer, because I do like frozen food. And the frozen food would be, you know, like veggie burgers, stuff like that. But the best ones out there are these drawer slides. What's nice about the drawer slides is that when you open it up, the cold air doesn't go away. And these refrigerator freezers are all designed to work on 12 volt. So what that means is that they can work on your battery and not have your inverter on at the same time. And plus, they don't take up a lot of extra space. You know, it's like they're going to fit flush with your cabinetry, and it just slides out for the drawer, and that's it. The cooktop over here, that's an induction cooktop. It will be electric only. What's nice about this is then you don't have propane, you don't have to worry about leaks or the humidity or anything like that. And yes, the van will have a lot of electric power. I think I'm going to go overboard on this, but since I'm going to be working from this too, I think it's a good idea to go for. All right, so that is my flavor sheet for the van. I'm going to expand upon it as I keep working, but that's a good starting point, I think. I hope you get some ideas from me, and maybe we'll go from there. Okay? Bye!